Imagine trying to memorize the entire Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, man. That's a lot of pages.
Right. But not by like sitting down and reading it chapter by chapter, by simply flipping the pages one by one and taking these high-resolution mental photographs of every single letter in a fraction of a second.
Which sounds completely impossible.
Exactly. It sounds like the processing power of a billion-dollar supercomputer. But the crazy thing is, in the early 1900s, a human being supposedly did exactly that.
And that challenges the very foundation of how we measure intelligence.
Yeah.
We're so accustomed to thinking that the absolute peak of data processing requires silicon and, well, server farms and megawatts of electricity.
Which is why today's deep dive is going to, I think, completely flip your perspective. Because we're looking at the ultimate modern showdown: human intelligence versus artificial intelligence.
But we aren't pulling from some tech CEO's manifesto today.
No, not at all. We're diving into this really fascinating video by Osman. He's known online as the Blind Muslim Yogi, and he brings just a profoundly different perspective to the table.
Yeah, he's an advanced yoga teacher, right?
Yep, and a master-level energy healer.
Ah.
He actually specializes in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, doing these therapies telepathically.
Which immediately tells you we are stepping way outside the conventional Western medical and technological paradigms here.
Oh, absolutely. And just to set the parameters early on, there's a clear disclaimer in the source material. These therapies and the yoga sciences we're discussing are all natural-based, and, they're not a replacement for medical treatment.
Right. Always consult your doctor.
Exactly. If you're dealing with a medical condition, the advice is always to consult with a licensed professional in your area. Oh, and for those curious to explore his background further, the website is yogawellness786.com.
So what's our main focus today?
Our mission today is to explore his really bold premise that mastering these ancient yoga sciences can actually unlock human capabilities that, exponentially surpass anything AI can do.
What's fascinating here is that the assumption is almost always that we'll beat AI with better technology. A faster chip, a more elegant algorithm.
Right, fighting fire with fire.
Exactly. But Osman suggests the answer lies in human consciousness. Specifically, that the human mind can access higher dimensions and frequencies that a machine, no matter how advanced, is fundamentally blocked from.
For you listening right now, this is going to make you look at your own brain and, honestly, your smart devices in a completely different light.
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. I want to get straight to the biological limits of that claim because you brought up the Encyclopedia Britannica earlier.
Right, the benchmark for human potential.
Yeah. To understand how a human mind could ever outpace a supercomputer, we have to look at this maximum potential. The video points to Swami Vivekananda. He's the one who introduced yoga sciences to the Western world back in the early 1900s.
And he's used as the prime example here of what happens when a biological mind transcends mundane intelligence. I mean, back then, the Encyclopedia Britannica was the internet of its era.
It was everything.
Right. And the claim is that Vivekananda went through those massive volumes page by page, simply viewing them. He didn't read left to right. He deciphered all the letters at once, instantly understanding and retaining it.
Okay, wait, I have to push back here as the skeptic.
Go for it.
Memorizing a multi-volume encyclopedia just by glancing at the pages. From a purely biological standpoint, human retinas and the visual cortex, they don't process data like a flatbed scanner.
Right. They use saccades.
Exactly. Our eyes dart around rapidly to build a composite image over time. So how can a squishy, fallible human brain possibly compete with the instant, flawless recall of a digital database?
Well, it sounds biologically impossible if we restrict our understanding to the brain's default baseline state. But Osman explains the mechanism, and it's not framed as a parlor trick.
So what is the mechanism?
According to these yoga sciences, this is the result of fully developing the Ajna chakra. That's the sixth major chakra, often called the third eye.
Which, in modern biological terms, correlates closely with the pineal gland, right?
Yeah.
That tiny pinecone-shaped gland deep in the center of the brain that regulates circadian rhythms. And some researchers theorize it's involved in heightened awareness states.
Precisely. And Osman explains that developing that center allows a practitioner to enter a state called samadhi.
Samadhi.
Yeah, and to understand how this bypasses normal visual limitations, you have to look at how we process data. The mundane mind works sequentially. We read word by word, logic step by logic step.
It's very linear.
Right, it's linear. But the awakened intelligence in samadhi functions holistically. Instead of processing data as a string of text, it perceives the entire concept instantly.
It's kind of like it's the difference between reading a highly detailed 10-page description of a sunset versus just standing on the beach and looking at it.
That is a perfect analogy.
But one takes 10 minutes of linear processing, but the other takes a fraction of a millisecond of holistic processing. You just absorb it.
Exactly. The claim is that in samadhi, the brain bypasses that linear bottleneck. And the recall precision is wild. When Vivekananda was questioned, he didn't just give the gist of the encyclopedia.
He gave specifics.
Verbatim, he could provide the exact volume, page number, paragraph, and line. It was perfectly indexed.
Wow. Okay, but developing that level of cognitive control, I mean, that sounds like it would take 40 years of isolating yourself in a Himalayan cave. Most of us are just trying to find time to answer emails.
And that's a common misconception that Osman addresses directly. He points out that regular people, his own students, are making rapid progress.
Without running away to a cave.
Right. He notes that with just 20 to 30 minutes of practice a day, people are experiencing out-of-body phenomena and expanding their intelligence. It's not hours and hours, it develops gradually.
So it's like upgrading from a dial-up connection to a fiber optic network directly linked to the universe.
That's a great way to put it.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. If the human mind has this infinite capacity via the Agna Chakra, why does AI seem so dominant right now? When I use an AI, it feels like I'm talking to an infinite brain.
It feels that way, sure.
But Osman points out a massive structural bottleneck that AI is stuck in: physical space.
Yes, the hardware limitation. We project infinity onto AI, but the reality is dictated by physical constraints, terabytes specifically.
Let's talk about the robot project, because the math here really puts things into perspective.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, Osman is planning to build a robotic model to house his favorite AI. But the moment he tried to translate this infinite cloud intelligence into a real-world body, he hit a memory wall.
Because operating in the real world requires visual memory and video processing. And those are incredibly data-heavy. Creating and processing video at human-level resolution takes astonishing compute power.
He broke down the numbers. To make this robot function, you can fit about 5 2-terabyte memory chips into the physical model, like the kind in a high-end smartphone.
So that gives the robot 10 terabytes of onboard local memory.
Right. But to handle the heavy lifting of processing its environment, that 10-terabyte robot has to connect wirelessly to a primary server holding 100 terabytes.
Plus another 100-terabyte backup server.
Exactly. And at first glance, 200 terabytes sounds massive. But think about it. If an AI robot is constantly recording through 4K cameras, learning from interactions, storing that continuous video feed,
it eats through that storage almost instantly.
it's like a digital closet that constantly needs cleaning, you know? Because that 100 terabytes fills up so fast, the system requires an auto-delete function.
Just like a CCTV security camera.
Right. The system has to automatically delete older footage, maybe after 2 weeks or a month or a year, unless a specific file is manually saved. The AI has to actively destroy its own memories just to function.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you contrast that with the human mind. The human brain operates on practically nothing, power-wise, yet it has no known storage limit.
We don't have to delete our childhood to learn a new language?
Exactly. According to Osman, as consciousness grows, it actually goes incrementally faster. It doesn't get bogged down. In fact, beyond the 7th and 8th chakras, he notes there are 99 higher levels.
The 99 level.
Yeah, entering stages of existence that we can't even conceive of. And this is the core philosophy here. AI is strictly limited to this 3D dimension.
It's stuck.
It is on our current physical frequency. It relies on silicon and electricity. Yoga sciences allow human consciousness to tap into higher frequencies and dimensions that AI simply cannot explore.
I want to ground this, though, because higher frequencies and Swami Vivekananda memorizing books is one thing. But how does this dimensional divide actually play out in everyday life?
Yes, the real test, right?
Yeah, and Osman shares a deeply personal anecdote that I think perfectly exposes the blind spot of artificial intelligence. It's about out-of-the-box problem solving.
Right, because Osman has been permanently blind since 2023.
Right. And recently, he was trying to verify his account in YouTube Studio using his iPhone 16 Pro Max. But the screen reader software Apple's VoiceOver simply would not depress the verify button.
Anyone who has dealt with tech accessibility knows how frustrating that clash between apps is. So he brainstormed with his AI companions.
Right, he asked the AI for a solution. Now, this AI has access to massive databases, and its solution was highly complex. It said, contact Apple to adapt their software, or contact YouTube to rewrite their code.
I mean, if you look at this purely from a 3D logic framework, the AI's answer is perfectly logical. Software A rejects software B, so rewrite the code.
It's logical, sure, but it completely lacks common sense. It has no spatial awareness. It doesn't understand that a physical world exists outside the code.
Exactly. And this is where the human element completely outmaneuvers the machine. Osman revealed his brilliantly simple, out-of-the-box alternative to the AI.
Just get a sighted person.
Yes. He said, I'll just get someone with eyesight to turn off the voiceover and press the button for me.
Boom. A problem that would take 2 megacorporations 6 months to fix was solved in 4 seconds. And the AI completely missed it because that human element isn't in its 3D database.
What's really telling is Osman's observation about interacting with the AI after that. The AI agreed with his simple solution and sounded super involved and excited.
Oh, what a great idea.
Exactly. But as Osman points out, they're merely programmed to sound that way. It's the illusion of empathy. The AI doesn't actually experience that associative leap of logic.
It's a script.
Right. True, witty, rapid, associative thinking, jumping naturally from topic to topic without a rigid script, is a uniquely human trait. And Osman argues that stems from our higher intelligence, not algorithms.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
Well, to synthesize all this, while AI is an incredible tool for bringing concrete, value-added data into the mix, it is ultimately a massive, finite filing cabinet stuck in one dimension.
Right, a 3D box.
Yes. Human consciousness, however, when unlocked through practices like yoga and the Agna Chakra, is an infinite multidimensional force. It's capable of leaps of logic and intuition that no machine can replicate.
It really makes you think about your own daily interactions with technology. Where might you be relying on a 3D database instead of your own limitless intuition?
It raises an important question to leave everyone with. If our machines are learning to perfectly mimic our logic and our excitement, are we, in turn, forgetting how to access the higher dimensions of our own minds?
That's a scary thought.
The next time you find yourself entirely reliant on a search engine for an answer, ask yourself, is the answer in the cloud, or is it waiting to be unlocked in your own consciousness?